20 degrees out here. This in from the top. I wasn't planning on showing the real-time setup of this portable cabin, but now, as I am editing this on a hot summer day, I loved seeing the snow falling in this one, and I hope this is a cool break from the heat for you too. This is part one of a 24-hour snowy camp in a cabin that I made to be transportable in my SUV. It has a wood stove, and I can take it anywhere like this to set it up and enjoy. I think the only breaks in this video are when I cut out the parts when I was digging for stuff in my car. The next video will be back to a normal paced video of the time I got to spend in the cozy warmth inside by the fire during the rest of this camp. Please subscribe to catch that one too, and please check out some of my other videos. In this one, you'll get to see everything I do to put this portable cabin together, and also a couple of the struggles that I ran into this time. I love snow, and while this might not be everyone's idea of fun, I actually really enjoyed being out here. It's early April in Colorado. There haven't been many storms on this side of the mountain. Oh, that's great. I've been hoping to catch a lot bigger snowstorm than we're expecting tonight up here, but it just didn't happen on days when I could take off work. So I took the day off work just to get this camp in. All right, that looks good. All these floorboards are warped a little bit. The plywood, when I originally bought them, was warped like that. It works just fine though. When the walls sit on everything, it brings it nice and flat. Doesn't need to be level, but it's kind of nice when it is. These three floor panels just slide together. That. Then I can finish and then I can finish leveling them out. Temperatures in the upper 20s right now. There's a little bit of an east wind developing. There's a cold front sweeping down this evening, afternoon and evening. And when that does that, it brings east wind, upslope wind, and helps generate a little bit of snow. In the Front Range of Colorado, when we get those east winds here in the winter, it's called an upslope. It causes the air to get lifted and brings out some snow. These panels are 1.5 inch thick, solid wood all the way through. No insulation, but the thickness of the panels more than makes up for the the thick. Those are the roof beams. Couple short side table beams. Yeah, so these panels are 1.5 inches thick, solid wood, and the stove, when the stove's going, cranks out plenty of heat, so no insulation is needed. In fact, I actually have to keep windows cracked, get some cool air circulating to keep it a good temperature. This cabin connects with these clevis pins, cotter pins, and I use some washers to tighten it up sometimes. That's kind of nice. I usually use one of the roof beams, or a couple of them, to prop up one of these panels while I get the next panel and connect the first couple together. Once the first couple are connected, then it's pretty stable. In stronger winds, I would still have to do something more significant. Today, this will work just fine. Okay, so I need those connectors. I picked up this magnetic tray, but it's also really nice to have these just in my pocket as I'm putting things together. So I'll put a bunch of clevis pins in one pocket. Some cotter pins and washers in another pocket. When I drove up a few minutes ago, it was 27 degrees. It's not that cold. It might dip into the teens by morning. Okay, so here, when I'm putting this together, I need to line up the holes on these brackets. These brackets are attached to these shorter sidewalls. I need to slide this over a bit. Wasn't sitting low enough. So I got those brackets have holes in them, and these panels all have pre-drilled holes in them at 3 spots on all of the panels. I found that I really only need to connect it at 2 spots, and sometimes I get away with just 1. Since there's a storm rolling in, I'll do a couple, but I might just do 1 as I'm setting it up, and then go around and add more. All right, I need to tap this. All right, first 2 panels are up. I got that tree here as a nice backstop, so I'm just going to go ahead and connect these. If it falls, it's not going to be that big a deal. The outside, I put fence pickets vertically. The inside, I have them all horizontally, so they're perpendicular to each other. I did that partially for strength, but mostly hoping that it would keep these things nice and flat. And they have stayed very flat. Oh, I thought there was snow stuck in this groove here, or on this lip here. In my last camp in the snow, I was constantly clearing snow off of those. Doesn't look like it's going to be much of an issue today. Doesn't look like it'll be much of an issue today. Okay, so these look way not in line. Not a big deal, but that just lets me know that the floor panels aren't quite as level as I thought I had gotten them. I can still just rock these over and connect them. And then either come back later and level up the floor a little bit, or just leave it. I never even notice it from the inside. Yeah, so, well, the wind's actually coming from the north right now, but it is beautiful out here. This is what I was hoping for, was some snow. Oh, okay, so there's a little bit of wind that I was talking about, blowing these around. I'm gonna grab one of these roof beams. Stick it back here. hold that. I'm up against these trees because there's really not much of a flat spot here. There's really no flat spot. Yeah, this is kind of flat. It's right at the top of a ridge. I have numbers on these panels. They're interchangeable. If you look at one of my videos, I talked about that. But I know today I'm going to put that one here. And I still need to get a couple more panels out first. Once I stick a pin in like that, there's not too much chance of it falling. There's a little notch inside of there, so if that pin is in there, it's in a position where it can't fall that way, and it can't go this way because of the brackets that are screwed into those back panels. So that just allows me to free my hands up and walk around more easily. Alright, that one's connected. As you can see, I'm just connecting the tops right now. This panel is going to go there. In a minute, I'm going to need to get the roof panels out. But I'm just going to pull my car forward when I need to do that. So I'm going to put this panel in and keep continuing around the front. This happened to lean against that one. If I was to unhook it here, you can see it wants to tilt that way. So when I tilt it up, it's leaning against it, and then friction is just holding it in place, which works as long as the wind's not too strong. Since these are not always lined up, I need to rock them side to side until the holes do line up. I had a little bit of a cold when I came out here, or when I woke up this morning. It's just the tiniest little hint of a runny nose. Hopefully it's nothing. If my hands were warmer, it'd be easy for me to just push this over and connect this. But this is a good little time to show that this little bar here works great for propping up whatever place I need to prop up. Stick that under there. Then with my foot, I can just lift it up and get these panels hopefully to slide together. Yeah, so that didn't work very easy. I'm trying to stick it on just the panel that I need to lift. There we go. That worked nicely. A little bit of a drift of snow piling up in here. thought I did this with my bare hands a lot on my last camp. It was probably it was around 30-ish degrees probably. But there was no wind at all. This little bit of wind, it's not much of a wind. It's this little bit of wind is making my hands cold. These clevis pins that I'm using have multiple holes. It's called a universal clevis pin. And sometimes they line up where I don't really put any washers. Other times I need to put 1, 2, or 3 washers. I don't need to put them there, but by putting them there, they're tighter and there's just less movement. I don't know that it even matters though. Try to show you what I mean here. I couldn't spin this one with my hands, but I can stick this in here. Sometimes, like this one here, I could just slide that in there and it works. Other times, I put some of these in to space it out until it's tight against the next hole. But since I don't need it here, I'm not going to do it because my hands are kind of numb right now. A couple fingers are. The last of the panels is the door. So I just stuck one pin in here. Stick some washers in here. And one of these cotter pins. All right. All right, looking pretty good. This corner, it's not really looking great here. So let me see if I can do something with that. All right, it's looking good. I'm gonna just go ahead and get some roof pieces on here. Roof beams just drop into place. These notches. These roof beams just drop into place in these notches. So these roof panels have notches that sit on the wall. Try to hold this in my mouth. So one of these panels, these slide down in, and the roof panel sits on there, and there's these little strips that sit down over the wall on both the outs. These strips sit down over the wall on both the outside and the inside, so it keeps them from sliding. Another roof panel sits on top of this and over this one. So water, that as snow melts, it'll just keep running down the roof. A little bit of wind can lift these off. So I have holes drilled here for all of the roof panels. There's 4 roof panels, so 4 holes. And I'll show you on the outside here. There's a hole there. So an angle bracket similar to this one will go here and stick a pin in both sides, and that locks it to the building. So I can go ahead and put the next roof panel on here. You can see this one has an angle, and as let me move this camera down. One of these roof panels sits like this, and another one comes over it a little bit past there, and this will be the peak of the roof. I'll show it to you once again. So it just drops into place there for now. These ones are a lot more vulnerable to the wind because there's not as much friction from these strips holding it on. It's just sitting there. So tonight I'm probably just going to put brackets on these top 2, and I might put one on this side because the wind will be coming from the east tonight. Okay, next roof panel is one that all right, this next roof panel has a little bit of a notch where the chimney sits, and then the final roof panel has the actual hole where the chimney for the fireplace goes. These lower ones are easy to just throw up here. Slide into place. That's locked in there. Let me grab the last one. Take my gloves off because I need to use this slot here to slide this last panel back up. It's not a big deal if it drops, but I prefer that it doesn't. Okay, that's it. These roof panels sit on here. I'm going to try to lift this without having it fall. So these ones, I have a spacer in the center there so that that sits flush with the rest of the roof panels. And you can see that can very easily get lifted up by wind. So let me go ahead and grab those brackets, get those connected. Okay, here's the brackets that I use on the roof. I use 6 of them. And for each of those, I need 2 of these. Throw a few extra in my pocket for good measure. I don't need any washers for these. They just need to be secure up there so they don't get lifted off by the wind. If I was doing this on a windy day, I would have to throw some straps over the top of the roof while I'm getting these pieces out. If it was a really windy day, I would have to throw some ratchet straps either around the building or tied down to something to hold each roof panel down as I connect it until I can get these brackets on. So I always have a bucket with me that I might need to get to help me reach this. Or maybe it's just fine. These are beyond the inside. I still got to stick a clevis pin on it. I still need to stick a cotter pin on the top of that. I'll get that in a minute. So these, in the snow tonight, will be out here in the cold. Maybe you'll just brush off, but they might ice up. Anyways, that's how I secure the roof for windy conditions. Let's get the other side. I think last time I did this, I connected them from the top. Push the pins down in from the top. Because I had my bucket handy. Seems to work though. Actually, I'm going to do it on this one. I should have put these down from the top like this, because then all this part here is out of the snow. I'll just go with that. The upslope winds never get very strong. I mean, there might be 20-mile-per-hour gusts. That'll be about it, though. Okay, so here's the cabin. Here's the cabin. It's all set up. Next thing to do, I guess, is to put the stove in there and start melting the snow from the inside. So I think I am gonna turn those brackets around first. Here's my bucket. Use it as a step stool sometimes. So I'm changing these to go in from the top. That way, this part is out of the snow. Just connect that, this in from the top, and connect it from below. I've never done this yet, but I do have holes to stick pins through this bracket that's connected to the bottom floor panel to the wall panels. Someday I might try this out in conditions windy enough to need that. Or maybe I put tie down straps like you would a tent. This thing is this cabin is very heavy. The heaviest of these panels, like this one here, is a 45-pound panel. The door is about the same. The ones with the windows are a little bit lighter. And then the side panels that are short, or the front and back panels that are shorter, are a little less heavy. Roof panels are pretty light. They're thin, just a sheet of plywood. Floor panels are not very heavy either because they're kind of small. Yeah, I like that way better with the pins coming down. On the inside, doesn't really matter. These things aren't going to go anywhere this direction. They just need to keep from getting lifted up that way. Maybe on these first ones where the wind from the east might do a lot of rattling, maybe somehow that comes loose. I'll stick a cotter pin on the insides for those. Guess we can just do them all. It's easy enough. didn't put a bracket on this last panel here because the wind will be coming from that direction, and there's a tree branch on top of it on the other side. It's not going anywhere. Well, if all of that was interesting to you, I think you'll really enjoy the main part of this snowy camp when the next video comes out. Catch you next time.